The book's called Approaches to Behavior and Classroom Management, and it's for educators, anyone working in a school setting, from preschool through high school. And it deals with one of the most important issues in human development, namely the issue of control, how we can help kids to develop self-control, but also how to help kids to share control with others. And there's some very big issues addressed. How do you create a classroom community that is just, caring, and diverse at the same time? How to help kids and teachers become partners together? How to accommodate to the diversity that you find in today's classrooms? And how educators can use a common language even when they have marked differences in their approaches and in their methods. Everyone can agree that there are certain building blocks, and the book talks about what those building blocks are. They are namely relationship building, teaching for learning, teaching to support children's long-term development, organizing classrooms, attending to classroom systems, interpersonal systems, and accommodating diversity, not only cultural diversity, but the diversity that you find among learners, and diversity with respect to abilities and disabilities. And regardless of one's approach, you have to attend to those 5 building blocks. But you have to be flexible in your approach because of the diversity that you find in classrooms. So that's what the book provides, a common language and a way to be flexible, but attend to what's most important. The field of behavior and classroom management has been historically defined in terms of individuals and their approaches. So you have Dreiker's approach and Cantor's approach and this person's approach and that person's approach. And when you present a field like that, when it's tied to particular names, it becomes very, very confusing for anybody to understand what is the foundation of the field, what is common, what is the historical roots, etc. So this book differs from the normal book or the typical book in the way it talks about approaches by talking about what all approaches have in common, and also what various approaches, how they differ in their emphasis from one another. It puts into the background individuals, and it puts into the foreground patterns of thinking, patterns of methodology. And so it's these patterns of thought and patterns of action that the book features, and that's not the usual for a book on approaches. And I think it allows any reader then to be less confused and to go deeper than if you have this kind of a babble of voices that's created by so many different individuals talking. The book is written to be accessible and helpful to anybody either going into the field or already in the field of educating children. So that includes teachers, classroom teachers, but it also includes school psychologists, school counselors, administrators, anybody working in the school system. It's especially geared, though, to courses being taught around the country for those in teacher licensing programs, pre-K through high school. I think the book fills a number of needs, and one of the needs is this need for a common language about approaches. Another need is to distinguish approaches from the particular methods that you can see teachers using. And approaches go deeper than methods. Approaches have to do with your values and your theories of change and your cultural biases. And so what this book does is allows you in a easy way, I think, to go more deeply into what is generating good methods, not just what those methods are. And so any reader can come away a more powerful thinker, but also someone who can be more creative in adjusting to the changes that are always happening in school settings.